Take 2.
I've taken 2.
Okay, remember, don't touch the table. Stop moving. Just hold still. Go.
Why are you acting like a cartoon character?
Yes.
What's going on, guys? My name is Logan with West Desert Shooter. This is my wife, Jade.
Am I supposed to introduce myself? I'm Jade.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So this is going to be a recap about my channel's history up to this point. The significance of this point is that I recently crossed over 20,000 subscribers after a couple of years of hard work and just having fun talking with all 20,000 of you guys. So I've written down a list of all the videos that I kind of want to touch on and just the different things that have happened over the last couple of years, and just the cool videos that I like, as well as just kind of milestones as I went along. So to start off, currently I've posted 233 gun-related videos to YouTube, which is a lot.
That is a lot.
It takes a long time to make and produce each one. 230 of them, that's a lot of videos to make. Overall, my channel has 4.2 million views, which is ridiculous. That's awesome.
I just thought I'd elaborate. 4.2.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching the video. I know there's tons of people who don't even subscribe. That's fine. I mean, if you like rifles, come on, watch a video.
In case you're wondering what Logan's laughing at, check out the video on YouTube instead of listening to the podcast.
Yeah. Also that, if you guys are listening to this, our video version is going to have clips of all these videos I'm talking about overlaid, and it should be a good one, hopefully. It's going to take a bunch of work. But, so August 30th, 2016. Yeah, August 30th, 2016, I posted my first video, which was a Palmetto State Armory 18-inch AR-15, and it was an accuracy review, and it's cringeworthy to watch at this point. It's really funny. I talk very slow and quiet to, I guess, make my voice sound better to myself. At this point, I'm used to hearing myself, and it doesn't bother me at all to just talk normal, but in the beginning, it was cringeworthy.
So that was your first video. Now, was your Palmetto the first gun you bought after we got married?
I believe so.
Was that the gun in between semesters?
Yeah.
I was going to school full time, and we thought we were going to take a break in a semester, and so Logan decided to buy a gun, and then I was like, just kidding, I'm really going to school this semester.
Yeah, so money was a little tight, but I was able to sneak it in and buy myself an AR, and that was when ARs were expensive. They were in high demand. Thanks, Obama. And so my cheap Palmetto was like $900 at the time, which was free floated. I got the one I wanted. It was a cool rifle. I still have it. But yeah, that was my first video on here. And then very close to after I released that video, I bought my Tikka, but we'll get exactly into how this went. So in January of 2017 is actually when I came up with the name West Desert Shooter. So my first couple videos, I never called myself that, and that was not thought of yet.
Weren't you like Modest Mouse? Modus?
No. It was,
some crazy name.
Yeah, it was like an 11th grade email that I came up with. It was just whatever. So at this point, it's West Desert Shooter, and I like that name. I'm sticking with it.
Okay, wait. Now, I think we should talk about how you came up with the name.
How did I come up with that name?
How did you come up with West Desert Shooter?
Yeah, so at the time I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah. I was driving west like 50 or 60 miles out into the west deserts of Utah, and I just live in the western side of the United States. So I was going out in the desert and shooting all the time. Figured there's no misleading with that title, just shooting in the West Desert. So West Desert Shooter fit.
You do get some different names. Like when people call you, they call you what? Sometimes Western Desert Shooter.
Yeah, I've gotten that a few times. Quite a few people think my name is Western Desert Shooter.
Which isn't bad either, because I mean it's...
Also, if I search West Desert Shooter in YouTube, West Desert Shooting is the most suggested thing. So I'm wondering if people think that that's my channel as well. I don't know.
You're the West Desert Shooting.
Yeah, that's not what I do. So at this point, I'm gonna crack a cold one. We're gonna get into the list of videos from all my 233 videos. I'm just grabbing some highlighted ones which I guess I'm a little self-centered, but I wrote down a lot of them that I want to mention and talk about.
There's like front and back. So
Yeah.
like hang in there.
But
Don't leave yet.
the channel's grown a lot recently, and I kind of want this to be a way of people to realize, like, I've got some older content out there. Maybe I have videos or rifles you don't even know about that I've done a whole bunch of stuff on that's kind of gone stagnant at this point. So we'll kind of get into it. Like my AR-15, I haven't even had that on the channel. I mentioned it in almost a year. Like, it's just kind of gone on by the wayside, and I'm playing with my new bolt guns. So let's get to it. Why don't you read off the names? So these are all the names of the videos. Why don't you read them off, and then I'll just spout out info about them.
If I can read your handwriting. Okay, let's figure this out. So, is this your first video, or is this just like a highlighted video?
This will be my first video.
Oh, so PSA is Palmetto State Armory.
Yes.
So your PSA accuracy review.
Yeah, I had taken a bunch of different types of ammo to the range, shot them at 100 yards. I guess I can hit this tangent real quick. Some of my influences for creating my channel, probably the biggest push I got to do the channel was from Johnny's reloading bench. At the time I was trying to learn how to reload, and Johnny put up a video basically saying that when he reloads, he likes to watch YouTube videos. There wasn't enough content creators out there, and so he suggested to people, make some shooting videos. That's exactly what I did, and the rest is kind of history there. As far as the accuracy review that I was doing, that was kind of a nut and fancy style video. He's a little bit, what's the word I'm trying to think of? A lot of people don't like that channel. But
Dislike?
yeah, no, that's not the one. Controversial. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Oh.
People are a little controversial on that channel. However, I really liked how he did accuracy testing on different rifles. It was really interesting to me that different types of ammo would shoot different. So I wanted to go see what my AR-15 would do, what its capabilities might be. So that's why I did that video. And thanks, Johnny, for the little nudge. Helped me out to get going a little bit. So if you're looking for a great channel and you like reloading, Johnny's Reloading Bench is a good place to go.
Well, I think you had a lot of time too, because I was going to school full time at night. And so I was at home at night, and I'd come home and find you watching YouTube videos on how to reload, because it was never really something you had done before.
Oh yeah, I'm completely internet taught on how to reload, and now I'm helping other people learn how to reload through the internet. That's one thing I've always tried to do, is produce content that I consume. Meaning that, like, the stuff that I like to watch, I try to put more of that out there. So that's one thing I've tried to do over time.
Cool. All right, video number 2. PSA steel targets. First reloads long range is a side note of that. Please elaborate.
There's a couple side notes on this. So, yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. I've taken my AR-15 out shooting long range, and at this point, I don't know anything about long range shooting. I'm actually really bad at it. I didn't have any drop charts, nothing special. I was shooting without a rangefinder, so I think I shot like 100, 300, and 500, possibly. I mean, thinking back on it now, it is at least like 400 yards that I shot. But no
Which
ballistic.
was far at the time.
Yeah, at that time that was one of the furthest shots I'd ever done. But also the first time I'd taken reloads out to shoot. So it felt good, it was really cool, ton of fun. And that's another huge part. The early beginning part of my channel was mostly just to document what I was learning at the time. Like, it wasn't to teach people at that point. It was because I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I was having fun, and I figured I'd make videos along the way.
Yeah. Where'd you get these steel targets?
I made them from work.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so the next one is reloading 223. First reloads recap. Ooh.
Yeah, so that was one of the, again, these are really early on in the channel. These are like within the first 4 or 5 videos that I had made. It was the first time I'd ever reloaded. I went to the range, shot 100 yards, shot accuracy testing. I was shooting Hornady 68 grain boat tail hollow points, and I got them down to like 3/4 MOA out of an AR-15 on my first trip out with reloads. Even today, I would consider that good shooting, so can't be mad at that, not too bad. But I like going back and watching that, knowing just how little I knew, and just watching me kind of stumble through the dark, and that is entertaining to me now.
It still just goes over my head. You could tell me all sorts of things and I'd have no idea.
We need to get you reloaded. Also, that was, I mean, anytime you're shooting your first reload, pretty sure your gun's gonna blow up. So that adds a little bit of excitement to it.
Well, I'm glad that never happened.
Yet.
Yet. Okay, next one is Tikka sub MOA or hype.
All right, so this is the first video I did with featuring my Tikka. I had recently bought it. I had it for about a month or two. I had my Tikka when I did my first Palmetto State Armory video. And then this one was basically a review of that. And there's this whole tangent in the middle of it that makes no sense that nobody cared about at the time. But that was my first video to start getting some views on that.
I would say, because this says, side note, that it's still your most watched video.
Yeah, so basically I can go to my YouTube channel and I can see my most viewed videos, and that thing still hangs near the top. It's got, I think it's just about 100,000 views at this point. So people like that one.
Very cool. And YouTube did apparently too. Okay, next one is Chasing Sub MOA series.
Chasing Sub MOA series is about shooting the Hornady 75 grain boat tail hollow points. The first powder that I bought was Varget, so just seeing what I could do with that. And at the time, I had this crazy idea that you could use one powder and come up with a load for 243 and 223, and that was all I'd ever need. It was one type of powder, 2 bullets, I was done. Now I've got stacks of powder, and I don't know, I've got unused powder that I've had for 6 or 8 months. So just like the guy at my work told me at the time, he's like, oh man, you'll end up with so many powders you won't know what to do with. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And sure enough, he nailed it. That's exactly what happened.
Interesting. Unused powder, huh?
Yeah.
But it's always, but I really need this right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
That's why I had it.
It's there. I'm not complaining. I didn't even know. All right. Quest for precision.
Quest for precision is the same concept, just vlog style of reloading results, trying to follow my 243 progress. I started off with the 95 grain Sierra Match King, the tipped Match King. Tried that forever and ever, just trying different powder charges, not trying different overall lengths or anything. It was just a dumpster fire. It was 7 videos, they all sucked, they're all terrible, no progress is made. Finally, Vaughn Precision helped me out. He got me to try the 87 grain Hornady VMAX. Those things shot lights out. I'm super happy with it. Later on the list, we'll talk about Quest for Precision again, but that's all I have to say about it right now.
Precision or precision? Because I say precision, you say
precision.
But
precision reloading.
But then when you say Vaughn Precision, you say precision.
I'm just trying to be concise with what I'm saying.
No, but that wasn't. That was precision. That's all I got out of that conversation. And I'm sitting here thinking about precision or precision. Moving on. Model 94 video.
Yeah, this is another one that's among the most viewed videos that I have. It was my grandpa's Model 94 Winchester lever action 3030. It's the only lever action I've ever had on my channel, but people really seem to love that. They leave freaking novel length comments on that video. It's kind of funny. You get some of the old timers that talk about it and just love to talk about it. But yeah, that was another one of my first videos that really started to get some traction.
Nice.
Still gets views.
I'd say it's most watched. All right, so we're back to our Palmetto State Armory videos. So we're doing 500 and 1,000 yard.
Yeah, so that one was the first time I'd ever tried to shoot 1,000 yards. I remember that day, I had my car out in the desert, but I think I only ever took my car out there once.
The Paseo?
No, the turd cell.
Oh gosh.
I didn't have the Paseo at this time. Yeah, just a little piece of crap daily commuter car. It got 45 miles a gallon, so I drove that to the desert instead of the truck. And yeah, so I had to lay down in the dirt. It was a good time. I had to wheel my car through just straight level dirt roads, and I was all careful not to rip the oil pan out of it. It was fun. Made it a memorable trip at least. So I remember shooting 500 yards. It was pretty windy at 500. Got some solid hits, just guessing on wind. And then I moved out to 1,000 yards. At that point, it had got later on in the day, and I started getting really bad mirage. Again, I was laying on the ground, so really bad mirage. My target inside my crosshair was just doing this, wiggling back and forth. So it was really hard to spot bullets, bash, or anything. So I was not successful at 1,000 yards on my first attempt. but you'll kind of see that that's a theme on my videos. Is even my failures, I'll make videos on them and post about them. Is I'm not too proud to say that I missed a target. Hopefully it helps people out, and if I'm not telling the truth, I'm just lying to myself, because these videos are for me, pretty much. So that's how it went, and I like that I documented it that way.
Good. Okay, so that was your first 1,000-yard attempt. Nice. How did you do on that? Did you just go over that?
Yeah, I missed. Thanks for rubbing that in again.
It's okay. You tried though. It was your first attempt.
But that would be after doing the Chasing 7 MOA series, so I had found a good shooting ground at that point, which is 24 grains of varget, 75 grain boat tail hollow point, and PMC brass. Who'd have thought? That stuff shot awesome. It's really cheap, crappy brass, but it worked well.
All right, this one is Tikka LR Target Hunt.
Yeah, this was a really fun one. This is one of the few times that I set up a target as if it were a game animal, and then I hiked up a mountain and then just kind of found like a decent spot to lay down, and I ended up on like a weird quartering away shot on a flat target. So I mean, it's, if anything, it's more realistic to a long range hunt would be. And hit it with my rangefinder. It was like 450 yards, but I had carried it all up there in like my backpack, so I just set up a shooting position just on the hillside, and then took a couple shots. When I watched the video and edited it, I had miscalculated because my turret was not on 0 where the rifle was zeroed, and ended up coming up short an MOA with my mental math out there, and I hit exactly 1 MOA low. So if I would have done it correctly, I would have hit that thing like right in the high shoulder neck area. It was a body silhouette target turned sideways, and I called that the vitals of the animal. So it was a realistic target for an antelope, and that's what I was simulating, was an antelope hunt. But just fun out there playing around in the desert.
Didn't you see a lot of antelope out there anyway?
Yeah, those things are so dumb. You're out there shooting like in the middle of a string firing, and they will come walking up like, "Oh, what are you doing out here?" Stupid animals. And then people complain that they're really hard to hunt. I haven't hunted one yet. I really want to, because it's where I go long range shooting, like home turf, home field advantage. Bring it on, antelope. But Utah won't give me my tag for one.
One day.
Yeah.
All right. Tikka Fusion 1K.
Yeah, that was the...
Oh, this note says first hit.
Yeah, so...
Ruined that.
No,
surprise.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, that's what it was. I took Federal Factory hunting ammo. Has a terrible BC. It's not a ballistic tip. It's not a boat tail or anything like good. And I went out and shot that thing 1,000 yards, and I connected with my target. I think it was on like my second or third shot. But I think it's pretty cool. I have a video of me the first time that I shot 1,000 yards successfully. And it's not just that I shot and hit the target, it's that I drove out there, set up the target, brought my rifle back, zeroed it, had all the information on the ballistics, and like I figured out how to hit a target at 1,000 miles. That's what's really cool to me. It's not that I pulled the trigger, it's that I knew how to do it. So that's what I'm most proud of on that.
I say at that point, we're down to May 30th of 2017. So
coming up on a year.
Yeah, just about.
Making videos at least.
Yeah. All right, next one is 50 grain Nozzler series, 70 grams Blitz series.
Yeah, so that's the 50 grain Nozzlers are for the 223.
Grams.
The 50 grain Nozzlers are for the 223, 70 grains are for the 243. The 50 grain shot pretty well. I never really figured out the 70s and the 243, but I bought them for like $8 for 100 rounds. Like whatever, I mean, that was worth trying. I remember coming across that deal and couldn't turn it down, so it was a good one. But that's just more of like to kind of talk about just some of the content I have out there. It's got almost no views and it's been sitting there for a couple of years, but if you're interested in something like that, I've made it, it exists, and you can go back and watch it. The information's still good in there.
Cool. All right, this one is your first coffee chat of August 2017. So now we're on your mark, coffee chat.
Yeah, so what the coffee chats were is basically like video responses to each other, and Fortune Cookie 45LC was the first one to do it. If you guys don't know who he is, he's made a ton of videos, and he does casting videos, a bunch of pistol shooting videos, rifle videos, Really knowledgeable dude, talks about gear a lot. And he basically just wanted to sit down and have like video responses where you're just sitting there having a casual conversation, drinking a cup of coffee. And so I responded to him, as well as Loads of Bacon and a whole slew of guys like Timothy Robinson, who is now PC Bullet Empire, Thor's Axe, and just a bunch of great content creators on there. It was a real good community sense right there, that like all these people were here and talking to each other and like paying attention to each other's channels. I think that was a real high point as far as the gun community went, was coffee chats.
So more of the coffee chat was you, it wasn't a live chat, it was more you responded back to videos you'd been watching.
Yeah, exactly. You'd see someone posted a coffee chat the day before, you'd watch it, the next day you'd post a video, and then they would watch it the following day.
Okay, so do they still do coffee chats?
I think very rarely, but I think there's a whole slew of them out there. I think there's like 40 or 50 videos at this point. Loads of Bacon has a playlist put together with all the coffee chats in it.
Oh, very cool.
But it was a cool one.
All right, this is our 6 egg challenge.
Yeah, do you remember the 6 egg challenge?
What do we do with the eggs?
So you you take 6 eggs out, you set them at 300 yards, and then you get 6 shots to try and hit all 6 eggs.
Do we put them in baggies?
Yeah,
okay.
Put them in baggies and hung them up. You could zero all you want, but once you take your first shot at your egg, you have to consecutively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 try and shoot them all. You don't get any more rounds, nothing like that. So it's like, how many tiny little targets can you hit in a row? That's the real question.
I briefly remember that.
Yeah, so that trip I actually went out with my brother Garrett and shot with him, which is one of the few range trips I had with him, so it brings back good memories there.
Very cool.
But again, this is more of the gun community kind of thing. Like Social Regressive did it, Von Precision did it.
Precision or
yeah,
precision?
His wife actually did it. She did an awesome job. I think she outshot me. I think she got 4 or 5 out of the 6. I got 3, which is decent. I don't know if anybody ever got 6. I think people got 5. I don't know if anyone's cleaned the stage yet. That's a hard target. Go try and shoot an egg at 300 yards. It's entertaining.
It's because Miss WDS hasn't tried it yet.
We'll get you out there. We'll see how she does.
I'm just kidding.
Put you behind the song.
No. Okay. Next one is 1100 yard 223 versus 243.
Yeah. So took the rifles out, same day, same trip, same target, shot them side by side. That is still the longest distance I've ever hit with my AR-15. It was an 18-inch barrel, 75 grain bullet, 1100 yards. It was real inconsistent, but I got multiple hits on target because it's an AR, and you got 20 of them stuffed up underneath. So it's pretty easy to just keep on sending them downrange. The Tikka was shot really well on that as well.
And so it begins with the next video. Our first you into precision videos.
Yep. Yeah, so I had gotten a rifle from You Into Precision to test and review, and that's when my first video started rolling out. My very first video where people saw it was actually a barrel swap video. They had sent me out a 243, and we ended up changing that over to a 6.5 Creedmoor. I didn't have a whole lot of experience with 6.5 Creedmoor at the time, so that was a ton of fun. And then I also made a promotional video for You Into Precision, and I went out and shot 1,500 yards. And I just made like a cool cinematic style, no tech detail crap. Like I just went out there, shot it, made kind of a cool fun video out of it, put it to some music, and that was like the first cinematic style video that I had done. That was fun to make. That was
Chase, right? Our buddy Chase?
That was actually me. That was completely
Just
self-filmed. The next promotional you into was me and Chase.
Okay, there we go. All right, next one is 2017 Spike Elk Hunt.
Yep, that was the first hunt that I'd been on. I live in Utah, so big game hunting is total possibility here. You got elk, mule deer, antelope, all sorts of fun stuff. You got bear. So Spike Elk Hunt was my first hunt. I grew up, none of my immediate family hunted, so no one ever taught me how to do it. Luckily, I got a buddy up north, and he was actually able to go out with me and took me with his family, and we went out and tried to find a spike elk. Hiked my ass off and didn't find anything. So that's how it goes. That's a real dose of hunting for you. But it was a ton of fun. I love that trip. That was a lot of fun.
One time he shows up. Love ya. All right. Quest for Precision 95 TMK success.
Okay. Back when we were talking about Quest for Precision, I said that it would come up again. This is when I finally got my 95 grain tip match kings to shoot well. So this is 17. I started that like
November 2017.
Yeah, I had started that at the beginning of 2017, I assume. And so it took a long time. I wasted a ton of bullets, but what I ended up doing was I finally figured out how to do an overall length test, and I got my bullets close to the lands of the rifle. I set them 20 thousandths off, as well as I finally found some H4350. As you guys all know, I went through a real drought of H4350 for a while, and could not find it. I was going to a gun store
Endless amount.
2 to 3 times a week for probably 9 months.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, well, it kept going on after that, but to that point, it was like 9 months religiously going to gun stores, and I finally found a single pound.
Where'd you find it at?
Where did I find that H4350? Most likely Sportsman's Warehouse.
I say which Sportsman's, Shills.
Maybe Gallinson's. I don't remember, but yeah, maybe I don't remember exactly where I got that from.
It's a hot commodity.
Yeah, and the problem is once it starts drying up, people are like, oh, I guess I better buy all of the H4350 I see. And so I was just always wrong place, wrong time. Could never find any.
Did anyone else ever have that problem, or was it just a Utah thing?
Oh, it was a bunch of people. Yeah, there's a real drought. And currently, I think it's Reloader 26. Nobody can find. So it comes and goes. It's probably because Reloader 26 is a suitable substitute for H4350. So H4350 disappeared. People started using Reloader 26. Now they've shot all that, and now you can't get that. But H4350 is on the shelf. So
That's good.
yeah.
All right. Nexus U-mount how-tos.
So Nexus U-mount, I met up with them at a gun show, and he let me borrow one to use it and make videos with. But I made some how-to videos for him to help communicate to his customers what it was capable of, what you could do with it, to kind of show it off a little bit. But Nexus U-mount has been really instrumental in a lot of my popular videos, and so I really want to give them a shout out, and as well as just kind of document the timeline of when I got that, because he gave me ideas to make some of the most popular videos that I have. It was directly his idea, like, you should go do this. The content isn't out there, and I know people want it, and everything he's told me to do turns to gold. So, kind of got to believe him there.
There you go.
Nexus U-mount, really cool way to look through a scope, or a selfie mode, or third person, or first person kind of like video game look down the side of your rifle. It's really cool, little digital mount for your rifle.
Very cool. All right, Tikka stock and barrel.
Okay, this was just after Black Friday. I remember sitting at your family's Thanksgiving, and I had purchased my Boyd stock for a sweet deal. I got my barrel, and I got my barrel off eBay for a good deal, and then I got a stock for the Tikka. The plan at this point was to build it into a long-range rig. There was 243 with the 1-to-10 twist. The original plan was to do like a 243 AI with a tighter twist, but for the same cost, I could go up to a 7mm and get better performance.
That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't know. Okay, next one is 6.5 Creedmoor UPR 10.
10. Yeah. So at this point,
Just pausing for dramatic effect.
yeah, backing up, I had taken the first U into Precision test and review. I had given that back at that point. Later on, they contacted me, seeing if I'd be interested in making more videos, as well as them supplying me with a rifle. And I was happy to oblige. And from that point on, I had my own rifle to make videos with. And as you guys have seen, I made a ton of videos with them. I absolutely love that gun. It's definitely one of my favorites. The U into Precision guys themselves are freaking awesome. They stand behind their product. They work with shooters to help develop better products, as well as they are shooters. So they're making good stuff right out of the box. I've only had like one issue with one of my rifles, and they stood behind it, helped me out, got it fixed up. And I know that they'll do the same for anybody else. For example, they had a Generation 1 bolt in the UPR-10 and a Generation 2 bolt. Anybody with a Generation 1, they will replace that bolt for free with the Gen 2 if you just send in your old one and then they'll send you out the new one. Straight across trade. And that thing to machine it, I'm sure, is a couple $100. And so they're literally just handing out your new upgraded bolt just to make sure that it's as good as it can possibly be, because they want their rifles to be awesome. So UNT Precision, they're a great group of guys. They really stand behind their stuff, and they're American-made, American materials. I love those rifles, man. They're super comfortable. I love those guns.
Right out there in eastern Utah of Duchesne.
Yep.
Which, if you look at the spelling of Duchesne, it looks like it says
Duchesne.
Duchesne.
I don't know how to spell it. I had to ask one of them how to spell it the other day when I needed the address out there.
Can you spell Duchesne now?
I think it's Duchesne, something like that.
Sure.
Doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
No.
That's probably wrong.
Starvation, Lake Utah, Duchesne. Same place. Just a little side note. Okay. Oh, but this is when something else began.
Oh, yeah. At that time, I had started my Instagram for West Desert Shooter on my own personal account. I'd always bounce between like BMX content, or that's really what that started as well. So it's like
family stuff.
Yeah, selfies with myself and my. Were you married at that point? Yes.
At this point, we've been married for
selfies of
2
me and
years.
my wife. Selfies of me and my wife.
What are you talking about? We dated for 3 years before that.
That's why I was asking. I didn't know.
I've been married.
I knew I was with Jade, so.
Yeah, so for a long time.
Well, at least this video isn't getting me in trouble. Yeah. So put up pictures of myself and whatnot. I just wanted to separate like the gun stuff, because I knew most people there didn't care for the guns, so I wanted it to be the people who wanted to see it could follow it there.
Yeah.
So that's why I started the West Desert Shooter Instagram, which is definitely my most used platform. I hang out on Instagram way more than I do YouTube or anything else.
Would you say you don't necessarily put up videos? Like, what do you post to your Instagram? Like, what content do you find there? Stories
is a great way to go for just seeing what I'm up to day to day, as well as like if I'm just in the reloading room just tinkering on something, I'll throw up a picture of that. I'll throw up pictures of the rifles out there. I'll share funny stuff that I've seen. Yeah, just kind of basic Instagram stuff. Just pretty pictures of the guns.
Have you ever thought about doing like an IGTV video series through there? I mean, maybe...
I've done a few IGTV videos. I like to, I don't know, I kind of like to keep it on YouTube as far as videos go.
Okay.
I model in my underwear on there just like everyone else with the rifle. Just basic Instagram stuff.
It'll get you more likes at that point, right?
Yeah, it works for everyone else.
Oh, right. Okay. Next one is How to Reload 243 series.
Yeah, so the How to Reload 243 series was basically the culmination. This is when I kind of made the switch from learning to trying to teach. And so at this point, I'm trying to help people at least just share the knowledge that I had on how to reload, and I break it down step by step. How to select a powder charge, how to select a bullet, choosing brass companies. Like I really broke it down, and it was like a 10-part series or so. As well as the series went on, I was doing new load development on a new bullet that I'd never shot before, and then I took it out, did some accuracy testing with it with multiple powders, chronographed it, and then went and shot it long range. So it chronicled me learning and working with the new bullet, as well as teaching people how to do it as I went. And I felt that was kind of like the most organic way to do it. But it didn't get a whole lot of views because there was a scare for a little bit that YouTube was going to get rid of all reloading content, which is not true. It was mostly just cast-led stuff. So I actually pulled that playlist down and put quite a few of the videos on private, and then I later on went back public with them. But just kind of lost all steam at that point, and they just sat there kind of stagnant. There's good information in there though.
I know you were, for a while, a lot of you guys were looking to see if there was another video platform to even post all your videos on.
Yeah, and a big one that we ended up going to was the Reloaders Network. I'm still an author over there. Admittedly, I'm not on there as much as I should be. There's a ton of great content over there, as well as a lot of exclusive content at this point, because they run through a Vimeo account to get around YouTube's bullcrap. So it's Loads of Bacon, who is the admin over there, as well as a bunch of other great gun channels. So the Reloaders Network is a great place to go and find a bunch of shooting content.
Very cool. All right, next one is your last 243 trip, 500 and 1,000 yards.
Yeah, so after doing the How to Reload 243 series, I remember this. I was trying to get that done because I had that barrel in stock laying there. I wanted to finish up that series before I tore the rifle apart. And so I went out and shot 500 yards with the Sierra 100 grain Game King. And I shot like a 2.5-inch group at 500 with a 243. That was like my best group I'd ever shot that far out. And then I went out and shot at 1,000 yards. And the entire time I had my 243, I was always conscious of not getting my barrel too hot. But at that point I knew that I was pulling it off, so I just started sending them. It was a good time, getting bolt happy. It was a good time.
Good. Now this next one, I think I know only because it makes me laugh every time I read the comments on this video. How much zoom do you need? Is this the one where everyone's like, the music's too loud?
Yep.
Like, you gotta give people a break, because at this point, I mean, videos are still kind of a new, I mean, you're still learning, you know what I mean? And so it wasn't necessarily a new thing to you, but
people are complaining about the free content that they're getting.
Right.
That's the funny part to me. So this gets back to the Nexus U mount. I used that to make this video. He told me to make, he said that this video needed to be made. Looking through a scope, looking at targets at different magnifications at long range to give people an idea of how much magnification they might want in an optic. And I did it just to, basically as a thank you to him, just to be like, all right, man, I appreciate the ideas. Thanks you for your product, whatnot. Here's the video that we discussed, and that video blew up. And I never expected it to, and so it wasn't as polished as it should have been. The audio was kind of crappy. The video footage itself was really shaky because it was windy and I couldn't get stable. Not a good video at all. And it was like one of my worst that I had made.
I don't know if I mean, it wasn't a bad video. It really isn't. It's just, I feel like people like to complain about anything and everything.
This one's justifiable. It's not a good video. And I would stand by that it is not a good video. But then people just complain. And once you start getting like traction on a video like that, all the trolls come out. Like once YouTube's like, let's share it with people. The people who normally aren't watching your videos then get the opportunity to make fun of your videos. So there's a little, that comes along with the territory of just getting more views. But that's absolutely one of my most viewed videos to this day. And it's got just over 440,000 views at this time. So that's one of my biggest videos. I think that's number 3 or 4.
Nice. I still think it wasn't that poorly made.
It wasn't awesome.
We've now finished side 1. Where are we at?
Side 2.
You know, I feel like this is a Friends episode when Rachel and Ross are trying to get back together. And Rachel writes a really long letter to Ross on why they should get back together. And he falls asleep because it was, I can't remember, like 13 pages front and back. So
cool story, nerd.
just for my friends out there.
Okay.
Whatever.
I don't know that episode amazingly because you make me watch all of them all the time.
Oh, I don't make you. Okay. Next one is 7 WSM build.
Yep. So I finally shot Tikka for the last time, tore the barrel off it, took it over to a friend's house. He basically put the rifle back together. Had a few hiccups along the way, but at the end of it, I had a 7 WSM instead of a 243 Tikka. So we go through the process of changing it from a 308 bolt face up to a Magnum bolt face, and changing everything out. The barrel, stock, scope base, like it's a complete transformation. And it's a cool video to watch as it goes from a stock Tikka to like a custom precision rifle at the end of it.
So that's the new year barrel.
No, that's Tikka 2.0.
Oh.
The Tikka 2.0 had some issues. It ended
Just
up
wait, because the freaking dishwasher. Can you not hear the dishwasher?
No.
It's like.
So the Tikka 2.0 ended up having some issues and ended up getting rebuilt after not too long after making it.
I got distracted by the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I think you need to redo that.
It's fine.
Oh, okay. Alright, 6.5.
No, we're right here.
Oh, now we're at the new air barrel. That's what I just asked.
Okay, sorry. I didn't hear you. All right. So we, at the same time of rebuilding the Tikka and starting load development on that, I also got a new AR-15 barrel, and the chamber on that was super tight. My reloading dies were not able to resize it down to the size that they needed to be, which were causing severe issues. The bolt was getting locked up, and I put up a video basically just saying like, hey, I'm having issues. And it's amazing how many AR-15 experts there are out there. So, but some people really did have good advice. A lot of people just made fun of me for my rifle not working. So thanks to everyone else there on that one. But between those two, my Tikka wasn't ready to shoot long range. My AR was jammed up and not working. That left me shooting my UPR-10, which is still a relatively new rifle for me at the time. And it gave me a ton of time to shoot that rifle, and it's pretty much just, that's when I fell in love with the platform and just using it. That's one of my favorite rifles to this day.
Good. All right, 6.5 Creedmoor 1 mile attempt.
Yep, first time trying to shoot 1 mile. You were with me. We were shooting out of the bed of my truck. I even let you try it. Ultimately, it came down to I was chasing my bullet splash too much. I never just sat and like shot at the target and then shot again to see if my bullet was being consistent. I was shooting 140 grain bullets using hybrid 100V powder, and I think that my velocity spreads were a little too crazy, as well as just not understanding how to really shoot that far. Like I would shoot and I'd see my bullet land here, so I would try and like correct for it, and then I'd shoot and it wasn't consistent. And so I just couldn't quite figure out how to put the puzzle together. But later on, we got that puzzle figured out.
I like puzzles.
Yeah, we know. But what do you think of trying to shoot a mile? Do you remember waiting the 3 seconds for the bullet to show up?
Yeah, I do.
That was a fun one.
It was different just because I thought, not necessarily that it was impossible, but I just never seen you do it before. So I thought it was fun to try and see you challenge yourself and do something new.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. That's what this is all about. If you notice that my distances get further the whole time and I go crazier with different things that I try, it's to just continue challenging myself and learn how to overcome.
Right, it's just for yourself. You're not doing it for the views. You're not doing it for Insta. Gotta do it for the gram.
I'm always doing it for the gram.
I know it.
But another thing about that mile, I think it really helps you realize how far a mile is.
Yeah.
Like to try and shoot a bullet that far, you're like, oh, okay, it's shooting a mile. Well, if you set your target somewhere and then drive away in the desert, you're driving for a long time because you're only like idling because of the rough terrain.
Right.
And it's a solid 5 or 10 minute drive out from your target.
Well, and even at that point too, like I remember how many people, and still are to this day, I mean, it's a little different out where we live now. We don't have, or we just haven't been able to explore places to really shoot a mile at, but like where we were at in the West Desert was perfect. People living out east or anywhere else, they don't have that privilege of being able to shoot out a mile.
Yeah, it's a pretty rare opportunity. Someone even has the ability to do that. And that also highlights another reason why I made the channel is to share with people what that's like. I mean, because I know that some people don't have the ability, so live vicariously through YouTube channel. A ton of people do it. That's why people watch like toy unboxing videos and stuff.
Or people playing video games.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe you don't have the ability to do what they're doing in the video. Like moto vlogging is a great one. A lot of people aren't ready to commit to buying a motorcycle, so they watch people ride motorcycles. I mean, that's just kind of what YouTube's about.
Yeah.
So sharing with people the experience of what it would be like to be out in the West Desert with virtually unlimited distance that you can go shoot your rifle, that's what I try and share with people.
Let's see. Good. Okay. Scope zoom compared 500, 1,000, and 1 mile.
Yes, this is how much scope zoom do you need?
Okay.
People were complaining about the quality of that video, using my Nexus U mount for that. I used my Nexus U mount again. It was nothing to do with the Nexus U mount. Sorry, that sounded bad. But I used that again to do this video, which is a refined video, no music, way better comparisons. I actually took screenshots and put them side by side, look at different magnifications, using a Cytron S3 8 to 32 power, as well as a Vortex Viper 6 to 24 power, and just like direct side-by-side comparisons, zooms, first focal plane versus second focal plane, and then it was 1,000 yards, 1 mile, 500 yards at different size targets, and I tried to put my crosshairs right on the targets for this one. So it's just all around, I put effort into this one. I tried to make it look good and polish it, and that's one of my most successful videos as well. So that one's continued to grow over the time as well, and that's one of my most viewed videos. So
cool. All right, this one is your first F-class match. Now, is this the one your uncle came up for? Is that your very first one?
Yeah, so my uncle shot competitively for the Navy, high power rifle, unsupported. So there's a local F-class match about 20 miles from where I live. My uncle had to travel across the state of Utah to come up and help me out through that. But it was a ton of fun. I was really glad that he came up. He was able to share that with me and help me get out there and learn, make sure I knew what I was doing. I actually have a podcast with Justin who runs that F-class match, and he gives you some insights on basically how it's run, what some of the rules are. You get to take a look at some of Justin's equipment. But runs a great match, super laid back, really fun. That was a really fun match, and it was the first type of competitive shooting that I had done. So that was kind of it was a new experience for me. I had gone out and shot myself in the desert, but the real question, like, put you on a stage in front of other people where they can see how you're doing, and then not only that, compete against them. So it's a little bit different. But the F-class matches are real fun. So I'm super stoked on those. I really enjoy them. They're a ton of fun.
So yeah, I think I enjoyed watching them as well. It was just fun to see a group of guys that share the similar interests, and then really showing what it is that they can do.
Yeah, and not only that, it's very diverse group of people.
Some really young kids,
yeah,
up to really old guys out there kicking ass.
The old guys are good. You gotta watch out for the old guys. But if you want to learn reloading techniques, go talk with the F-class guys. They are crazy.
Good, dialed in.
They know what they're doing, and I've asked Justin some reloading advice as well. And yeah, they're the ones who take the time to do every experiment, and they know what shoots better. So if you're looking for advice, talk to one of those guys. You'll find they're a wealth of knowledge over there. And the downside is most of them are older guys, and like, as unfortunate as that is, a lot of that knowledge is getting lost. So you need to go talk to those guys while you can.
Yeah. All right, where are we at?
First F-class.
I don't know what that says. Scar?
Yeah, Scar 17, 1,000 yards. So I actually met up with a kid from Instagram. Just messaged him back and forth. He was local, not too far away from where I was. Went and met up with the dude with rifles, meeting a stranger with rifles in the desert. What could go wrong?
Right.
And he brought a suppressed Scar 308 out there, and he had never shot 1,000 yards, so I helped him shoot 1,000 yards. Made for a great video. Really cool rifle. And not only that, he was at a real disadvantage. He had a short barrel in a 308, which some people will call a disadvantage. Other people will say it's the only way to go. I fall on the side of disadvantage, but it's a little bit of cartridge poking. I'm a 6'5" guy. Yeah, I don't own a 308. But no, David did really awesome. We went out there, shot, had a lot of fun, got some cool pictures, went off-roading for a little bit, but that was a good day. And it's always fun to meet new people, hang out, make new friends, so that was an opportunity to do that.
But who we really need to go take out shooting is who?
Oh yeah, Post Malone. Open invite, dude. I know that you're a fan of firearms. I've seen pictures from Gallinson's. I'm more than welcome, or I'm more than willing to go out there and help you learn how to shoot long range, as well as another YouTube guy, Do It With Dan. He's a moto vlogger. I've watched his content for a long time because I'm one of those people who's not ready to commit to buying a motorcycle. So I watch him ride it. And no, he's really into guns as well. He lives back east though, doesn't have the opportunity to shoot far. So open invitation, come on out. I'd love to go shooting with either of those two. So Do It With Dan, a YouTube famous guy, or Post Malone, worldwide known musician.
Who lives in Utah.
Yeah, lives in Utah. It's not even a big deal. It's a couple hours.
All right, so we are now at, this has my name on it.
It does.
All right. Okay, if any of you guys have ever seen this video, you know how many shots it took to make this video? I can't remember why we even decided to do it. Okay, so the name of it is Mrs. WDS Accuracy Review on the AR-15.
So, a little background. I had gone out and shot groups with the new AR-15 barrel. I had got it functioning again. And so I was just doing accuracy on it. And I didn't want to just do another boring target review video. So I was like, what if Jade does it? Because people like guns, people like women. Put the two together, what could go wrong? So why don't you talk them through your experience on that video, what you thought of that?
I really just wanted Logan to hold note cards behind the camera, because when it comes to like accuracy review, so he's literally talking numbers that mean nothing to me.
She doesn't know what she's saying, so I have to say word for word what she needs to say, but she has to memorize. So I'm like, Varget 24.5 grains, Hornady 75 grain Bowtail hollow point, which if you don't know what that means, it's hard to remember. Like, it's nonsense. But yeah, she did really good. We ended up getting all of it taken care of.
Finally.
And then we have a ton of bloopers at the end. It was really funny. She was swearing at me and laughing, and like, for no reason at all, she just bust up laughing. It's a good video. It's entertaining. I like watching that one. That was funny.
I still am not ever, but like comfortable behind the camera. And so for me, it was a fun thing to do. I liked it. It was silly, something different. So
what's interesting is coming up, you're in quite a few videos here. So like apparently we went through this point in time where like you wanted to be part of the videos.
Yeah, I guess. All right, next one is track review.
Yeah, tracked optics. Vaughn Precision was kind enough to send over his track that he had got in. He was very impressed by it, so he wanted me to check it out. He sent it over my way. I was able to go out shooting with it a couple times and very impressed by it as well. Really sweet scope, and it was from a company that I hadn't heard of at the time, so it's always cool to hear about new companies like that. Sent it my way, and then I ended up sending it off to the Social Regressive reluctantly, because that was a really sweet piece of glass. It was honestly like the first really nice piece of glass that I'd handled before. I mean, German glass, super quality turrets, large scope body, like just all around solid scope. In my safe, I currently have one now, and the Tract is probably one of my most trusted scopes. If I like absolutely need to get a shot done, the Tract is going on. So that's how I feel about Tract. A lot of people ask me, how do you like the Tract? And it's after a positive review on the video. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm not BSing you, man. Like, I like that thing. So Tract makes good stuff.
Cool. All right, next one is UPR 15-224 Valkyrie.
Yeah, at this point in time, Uinta had only had an AR-10 upper available, and they had just come out with the new UPR 15. They'd been sending out teasers on Instagram for a while, and I was itching to get behind one of those. And at the time, 224 Valkyrie had also just been released, so 224 Valkyrie had just been released, and they asked whatever cartridge I wanted. There was a 6.5 Grendel, 223, or Valkyrie, and so I figured new cool round would probably get more attraction as far as views go. So that would also help promote their upper. And also for myself, I got to see what the new Valkyrie was about and see how their upper handled. And the really great shooting rifle. If you put a muzzle brake on a Valkyrie, it is so ridiculously no recoil, especially on the bolt gun. Just a blast to shoot. You can lay down behind that thing and shoot it all day long, as well as it shoots really far. I mean, I had shot it up to 1,300 yards at this point. I need to go stretch that number out a little bit, but even Jada shot it a few times, and every time she says that she's enjoyed it, so it's been a fun one.
Okay, next one is 6.5 Precision Load Development.
Yeah, this kind of ties back into the F-Class match. This is for my 6.5 Creedmoor Uinta Precision, and basically this is the first time I'd ever really just dialed in a couple loads for a rifle, and at that point they were good to go. I stopped messing with reloading. Like, from the start to this point, I'd just been picking away at all my different reloading things, and like it was never good enough, and like I had basically like make up excuses not to go shoot far because like, oh, I don't have a load that's really dialed in. And so finally I was like, you know what, I'm figuring it out. I got them dialed in, and I was like, I want to freaking shoot. So at that point, I just went out, shot a lot, enjoyed target shooting, reminded myself why I do it is because to have fun shooting long range. It's not just about nitpicking every little detail on reloading. So it was a good reminder to kind of like bring myself back home and just enjoy it again. So that was a big deal, is the low development series on there, as well as good information. You can go in there, check out my precision reloading, and some of the best groups I've ever shot are in there.
It's pretty neat. It's just a subtle reminder to stop pounding on the table.
Yeah, my first podcast with Jade here, the whole time we were talking, keep smacking the table around. So we're trying to be conscious of not doing that.
Right.
So, for the viewers.
Just for something else for them to complain about.
Yeah.
Alright, next one. Jade shoots the Valkyrie and 6.5 accuracy review.
Yeah, so this is right about the same time. We went up to the mountains and
The what?
The mountains. And yeah, I gave the opportunity for Jade to shoot the Valkyrie. Shot off a tripod. Do you remember doing that?
Oh, is that up in
Up at the B.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just fun day up in the mountains with the wife. Just casually shooting like 200 or 300 yards. Just having a good time. And it was kind of illustrate that UPR 15 and as well as the Valkyrie cartridge is a great cartridge choice for shooting long range. It's fun to shoot. Female shooters enjoy it. It's accurate. It's just fun. So just kind of highlighting that.
Yeah. Although I don't enjoy the part of hiking the targets up and then hiking them back down. That's my least favorite part of going target shooting.
It was like 50 yards and we went up 50 feet in elevation maybe.
Oh, lies.
It's not that bad.
For whatever reason, that one stands out the most to me.
You should try going on a spike elk hunt.
No. Or what was that one video? Did you make a video series on the one where we left that target up in the desert?
No.
You never made a video series of that?
Never shot that target.
You never shot at it.
I had a target
You
stat.
shot at it, but you never shot it.
No, I never shot at it.
Then why did we bring that target all the way up the mountain?
At one point in time, I stashed a target out in the desert, like up a canyon, like hidden away.
Up a mountain.
And it sat there for months and just got snowed on and all that. Nothing ever happened. I never shot at it. As I drive by, I always make sure it was there and like just never touched it.
Did you ever go back and retrieve it?
Yep, I still got it.
Oh.
That was one of the last things I did before I moved. So
I remember that.
yeah, I had my last trip out to my spot in the desert. It was my 2,000 yard trip.
Is that on here? Oh, it is on here.
Yeah.
Before we moved. Alright, next one is milk jug challenges and zombie challenges.
Yeah, this is a fun one because like the standard, it almost seems, the price from long range shooters in Utah had come up with like shooting a milk jug at 1,000 yards, and a ton of people have done it, and it's kind of like it tells you how good someone is. If they can hit a milk jug at 1,000 yards, they're a pretty good shooter. And so I was honestly a little nervous going into it because it's like, am I going to be able to do it? And so you get 10 rounds, you have a time limit of 10 minutes, and you're supposed to verify that it's 1,000 yards. I haven't done it at the official Long Range Shooters of Utah event, which I probably should go and do. But I set up my own, went out there, I think I set up at like 1,010 yards, something like that. And successfully got a hold of a milk jug at 1,000 yards. Now here's the thing. I shot 2 types of ammo through the same 6.5 Creedmoor in the Precision Load Development series. I had a 140 grain and a 147 grain. So I didn't like keep dope from one shot to the next. So I used the one, I don't remember which ones I used on which shot. I used one for zombies, one for milk jugs. And I shot 1,000 yards milk jug first, 1,000 yards zombies. You can only move on to the next jug or zombie if you hit the target successfully before that. And I did end up going from 1,000, 1,200, and did I get my 1,500 yard milk jug? I don't remember. I know I did.
In the video.
It would be in the video. I didn't get my zombie at 1,500 because I still have the zombie. I don't remember if I emptied the milk jug or not. But as the day went on, because it takes a lot of time to run back and forth to your target, filming it, doing all that, it takes a long time to do that, as well as the wind had gotten worse and worse through the day. So the further out I was going, the more difficult and challenging it was becoming. as well as I was using a fixed 12 power SWFA scope. And so 12X is pretty good at 1,000. 1,200, it's starting to get pretty small. And at 1,500, you're like, where are those zombie head impacts going on? And so it's a little tricky. As well as my zombie heads were blowing around in the wind, so that didn't do me any favors. But real fun challenges. I was able to get a hold of my milk jug on my third shot at 1,000 yards, so that made me feel pretty good about it.
Like you put your hands in your pockets.
Nah, that's all right. I can't keep my beer in my pocket.
Oh, right.
I'm having 2 beers, one for every 10,000 subscribers, which I think this is the first time I've drank on any of my videos.
Last podcast, it was me.
Yeah, you were drinking.
I was the one drinking, and now I'm the one not drinking.
So cheers to everyone, 20,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. We'll keep going. We'll do this again at 100K.
There we go. 100? Well, I mean, like, that's the next mile point?
Yeah, 50K, whatever. 21,000. I don't care.
We have another video.
You guys, we made it to 21,000.
All right, next one is family shoots 1,000 yards.
Yeah, so again, getting back to the whole nitpicking, coming up with excuses not to go shoot. I'd always told people like, yeah, let's go shoot, and it just never really happened because I wasn't ever happy with how dialed in the loads were. So I finally just put my money where my mouth was, loaded up a bunch of ammo because I had the good validated loads at this point. I took my mom out, my brothers, I took my family out, a couple of my buddies, and set up a target at 1,000 yards and gave everyone the opportunity to come out and try out the 6.5 Creedmoor. My mom got her first round impact at 1,000 yards after I had got the elevation pretty near where it needed to be. So she was fighting the wind still, and she did exactly what I told her, put her around the target. She giggled about that one because when she shot, I didn't have like a good spot on the target. I was trying to get my rifle settled in. I was using another rifle scope as a spotting scope, and so I'd like come on target just after it hit, and I could see the familiar like bullet splash and like all the dirt, and I was sitting there for a second, and I waited for the ring to come back, and sure enough, she hit it on her first shot. And so she didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until after that ring came back. I told her she hit it. She just starts giggling. So that was a real fun one. I really like that video. Jade shot 1,000 in that video as well. I remember in our last podcast we were arguing over whether you got a first round hit or not, and I
still don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to watch the video again. my brother Garrett's really good behind a rifle. He's just naturally talented, and all the hard work I put into it, he just has it. So he was able to connect to 1,000 on his first shot. My stepdad shot it, and yeah, it was a great time. I really enjoyed that video. It means a lot to me on that one. So
also, karma gets you in that video.
Karma gets you.
Well, I mean, it got me because I thought I was trying to be silly and get behind you in one of your videos.
Yeah. So she's trying to photobomb the video that I've got going on, and I'm focused through the scope. I have no idea what's going on behind me.
So I decided to pop up behind his video. Thought it'd be really funny. I've got my headphones in. I can't hear anything.
My stepdad's like, oh, good idea. Let's go sneak up behind Logan too, and we'll both make faces at her. Right as she turns her out, they smack heads into each other really bad. I still had no idea this happened until I edited the video. So
it was like the best moment. It was like American home videos, whatever. Perfect moment.
Yeah, that was, and I got it on camera, so there we go.
So dumb.
Reasons to record your shooting trips.
Okay, then, UPR 15 hits the mark.
Yeah, this is the promotional video that I did for the UPR 15. This is the one that I went out with my buddy Chase that we were talking about.
Right.
And he was my videographer for the day and just helped me get cool cinematic shots. Again, no BS, it's set to music. You go out there, and this one I had multiple targets set up. So I hike up to a hillside, engage multiple targets at different distances, throw the rifle back on my bag, and then walk out of there, take off like a bat out of hell in my Tacoma through the desert. So
that's cool. Because Chase does, or has done in the past,
like motocross videos, and
right.
He's just kind of got
he's got a natural talent too.
Yeah, he's a naturally talented dude, but he's into it. Just one of my buddies I knew I could trust on to help me make a cool video.
Yeah.
So thanks, Chase. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I guess good job. All right, then. Oh, you start a podcast.
There we go. I start the Muzzle Blast podcast. So you're starting to get a time on. We're getting pretty close to the end. But yeah, Muzzle Blast podcast is something I wanted to do for a long time, but I didn't know how to start a podcast. Turns out there's a free app and it's super simple, and you just do a podcast just like everybody else does. So I don't know. At the time, I didn't realize that there was as many like long range shooting podcasts as there were. There are a few out there, like the Precision Rifle Media podcast and like some other guys, but for the most part, I hadn't really heard of any, and just again wanted to put out the content that I consumed. As far as I knew at the time, there wasn't the content that I wanted to consume, so I tried to create it. So hopefully 15 people listen to this and they enjoy it. That'd be worth it. So
I would say it's just another fun way to
share with people.
Right.
Open up dialogue. Yeah, just hang out and offer another way for people to enjoy this.
Exactly.
So yeah, I really enjoy the Muzzle Blast podcast. I need to do more just with guests. It's hard to get the audio good as well without having them there. And so it's a little bit challenging in schedules and all that kind of stuff. That's why Jay is our first repeat guest here, because the scheduling.
I live here.
Yeah, that'd be why. So.
Guess we need to start flying people out, huh?
Yeah, let's do
it. Or they need to buy their own plane tickets. We can't afford that. All right. Okay, so SHOT Show 2019.
Yeah, first time I'd ever been to SHOT Show. Went there with You Into Precision. We were able to do industry day at the range. I worked there all day for the show. It was really awesome. I was able to go out and visit a bunch of the vendors and companies that I had worked with through YouTube, but I had never actually met the people. And so I was able to go up, shake some hands, give them personal thank yous. So that was a really awesome opportunity. And I will be going to SHOT Show 2020 with You Into Precision, doing the whole week over again, meeting the new people that I've met that haven't been able to meet yet, meeting up with old friends. So really excited for SHOT Show 2020. That's going to be a fun one.
2020.
Yeah. Coming up here in just the next month.
Right.
It's coming down to it. I'm excited.
Can't believe that's already been a year. I remember it like it was just, you were a little schoolgirl. You were so excited about SHOT Show.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an exciting thing because
it's like it's the epitome of what anybody who's into guns like.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate gun show is what it is.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. If you're into firearms, that's where you want to go. And then there's people who are like, oh, they poo-poo on SHOT Show. Oh, that's where all the cool people go. All the people do that for whatever reasons. I think ultimately they just can't go and they want to go. So
yeah, it's definitely a cool thing.
SHOT Show's awesome. You're gonna meet a lot of cool people.
All right. Ooh, is this your 22 you buy? You buy a T1x.
Yep, that's one of my most popular videos in the last year.
Gallatin? You
no.
did, but no, you bought your 22 from Gallatin's because I met you after work.
Yeah. Oh, where is it? I originally was going. No, that was my CZ. Yeah, I think I got that from Gallatin's. So my
Not
first,
that matters, but
yeah, my first rifle I'd ever bought, I bought from Gallatin's. They just had good prices. I bought my SIG 938 from them, and then the T1X. They actually have been around for more than 100 years in Salt Lake. So Gallatin's knows what's going on.
So there's multiple trips. They literally were across the street from where I worked in downtown Salt Lake, and so Logan would be like, "Hey."
So also, this is the first 22 that I've owned.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, everybody always talks about, oh, you need a 22 I hadn't owned one, but the new Tikka had come out, had the same footprint as the T3. It also accepts the same triggers as the T3s. So, really cool design. A lot of people are buying Voodoos to clone their like centerfire rifles. Well, the action, like, I don't have a Remington action, so a Voodoo would just seem a little bit weird to me. So I got the Tikka T1x, just super fun little gun to shoot. I mean, I drained like 500 rounds through it in the first couple weeks I had it. And Ms. WDS, I had a couple comments on there like, oh, I like your wife's new gun. She went out there and shot. We were shooting a little swinger target at 100 yards, just tearing it up. Ton of fun, super cheap, out in the cold. I remember when I got it, it was cold.
It was freezing.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
I like my little Tikka T1x video there. I like my Tikka T1x rifle.
Yes. Just Gallatin's makes me think of my little pizza place I left behind. I miss that pizza joint.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time we're up there, I can buy a rifle, you can get pizza.
Oh, yes.
Sounds like a deal.
Fair trade, fair trade. Okay,
Oh yes, this is my favorite one on the list.
Oh, was that really? You bought your 22 before this?
Like just before it.
Okay, so here is a video about picking up my SOM from Preferred. Sorry.
So going back, I built the 7 WSM. You just didn't hear anything about it forever. The rifle wasn't, that was sliding.
Yeah, but you can hear the slide.
So I built the WSM. It didn't work right. I sent it to Uinta to be repaired, see if they could mess with it. They kind of realized that like, no, it's not salvageable. They sent it to Preferred Barrels, which is also a match grade machine. At the time it wasn't Preferred yet. So then Preferred worked with those guys. They built me a 7 SOM, and before SHOT Show, the rifle showed up there, and I knew that they were working on it, but I never was given a lead time. And now that like I know that there is a lead time at this point, but when I first sent it over there, I guess I didn't realize it was going to take like a few weeks before I got it back. And so I hate to be one of those customers that annoyed him, but I was one of those customers that was like, you guys done yet? And it wasn't like to be like, where's my rifle? I was just excited. I was like, I want a rifle. So, but yes, I went down, picked it up directly from them, met the guys at Preferred Barrels as well as Match Grade Machine. Rylan took me out and we were able to test fire it. I was a little pansy. I was not the first one to test fire my 7 SOM.
Who did?
Rylan got behind it. Rylan manned up like the man he is. He got down behind the rifle and shot it. But it was like a super mellow load. It was just a little hunting bullet. Like it was literally just like pop. Like it was nothing. Rifle weighed 20 pounds. So like it shot so nice. And yeah, that's the birth of the Tikka 3.0. Because when I had gotten my modular driven technologies chassis, I had gotten that where my barreled action was not at my house. So I never put it in there. So I drove to southern Utah, put it all together at their shop, and went out and test fired it. Man, that thing's been money ever since. I really like my Tikka, as you guys might notice with the videos that I make. She's one of my favorites. I haven't shot it all that much.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, every rifle's a female. What are you talking about?
Oh.
Would your rifle be a male as your shotgun guy?
I mean, I don't know.
Like if you're out there, like she did me proud, or would you say he did me proud?
It did me. I don't know.
No, so
I just think it's funny.
It is, yeah. But I really enjoy the Tikka. That thing's awesome. Every component that went into that. I worked with multiple companies. They were all awesome to help me out with that. But one of the things I've tried to elaborate on afterward is the goal of this rifle is to shoot 2,000 yards. And like some YouTuber guys will just work with anybody who comes up to them, whatever, I get it. But this was a very specific goal in mind. So I had to work with specific companies, and it wasn't just like an open invitation to anybody. There are specific products and people that I wanted to work with because, and I've said this before, you can't bullshit your way to 2,000 yards. Like it has to work to make it to 2,000 yards successfully. And that's exactly what it did. It shot and kicked some ass at 2,000 yards, which is coming up soon on the list. It
is. Before that though, you did your first NRL 22 shoot.
Yeah, went out to Jim Cannon's 22 NRL 22 course. That was up in Hobble Creek. Really fun match. It was, I don't remember if it was fall or spring, but it was a little chilly. By the end of the day, we were in t-shirts. Yeah, that was a fun one. It was the most attended NRL match in the country on that weekend was the one I went to. And so a bunch of really great people up there. It was the first tactical style shoot that I'd gone to, because at this point I've done 4 F-class matches, and this is the first time that I wanted to go try like some tactical shooting. Figured 22 was a good way to get into it. The Tikka was I'd only had it like a few weeks at this point. Hadn't really even tested that many types of ammo, but just threw a couple boxes in the bag, went and sent it. So it was a good time. I used my Vortex Viper for this one, and the Vortex Viper couldn't parallax below 50 yards. So my targets closer than 50 are blurry and you can't see them. It's a bad combination. What's funny is the Diamondback actually goes down to 20 yards. So the cheaper scope is a better choice, and it has the same reticle. So I would suggest going with the Diamondback Tactical on that one. But NRL 22, it was a fun course, and I need to go out and get another one done. I'm actually planning on doing that here in the next week or so.
Very cool. All right, Creedmoor, Somme.
Norma Mag.
Norma Mag. 1 mile. What's a Norma Mag?
So a Norma Mag, have you heard of the 338 Lapua?
Yes.
This is the same case head diameter. So it's a great big cartridge. And then instead of shooting a 338 bullet, it shoots a 30 cal bullet. And it's from a company called Norma. So that's what a Norma Mag is. Thank you. That's a very good question. I appreciate that. So this is a video that I went out and went with a local company, a dude who works, I don't know if he's a company or what he did, KO Customs, Kyle from KO Customs. He invited me to go out and shoot long range. He brought one of his buddies out there who had an Accuracy International. He brought a pile of barrels with him. So he shot a 6.5 Creedmoor to start. And this was my first trip to shoot long range with my SOM. KO Customs was kind enough to lend me a suppressor, so we had a earplug free day at the range, which is awesome. If you ever get the opportunity to do that, definitely do it. Everybody's rifles were silenced, so we had a couple cans there. Ton of fun. It was the first time shooting my own rifle with a silencer on it, so that was a lot of fun. But we were able to connect at a target at a mile, so we all went out there, lined up. We had different rifles, so it was cool to see like what the different dials were for each one. And so I was able to get shot 4 on target at a mile with my SOM, pretty good. KO Customs is a 6.5 Creedmoor, had a American Rifle Company mousing field action, really sweet custom rig and an MDT chassis. Now he's got it Cerakoted to multicam, really pretty rifle. He did a great job on that. And he was successful at getting a couple rounds on target. With a 6.5 Creedmoor, that's not easy. And then we finally had the Accuracy International, and he had been shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel. And he's like, all right, let's try out the Norma Mag to see how it compares against the SOM. So he takes his barrel off, puts the Norma Mag barrel on, doesn't check zero, just goes for it at a mile. He gets a first round impact at a mile, which is really, really difficult to do. And so that speaks volumes to Accuracy International and a little bit of luck. But yeah, he followed that up with like multiple hits after that at a mile. So those Norma Mags are no joke. Those things hammer. And when it was hitting, I mean, we had like a 60-pound target up there. It was still swinging that target enough to where we could see it swinging out of the mile. So those things hit like a hammer. Maybe I need one.
Yeah, this one says it's got 500,000 views.
Yes, that is one of my most popular videos. Again, I think that's my second or third.
Yeah.
So
the next one's your most.
Yeah, so that's way high up on the list. Just this one of my popular videos. It's the one that still continues to grow, so that one will eventually take over the next one on the list.
So this one is your 2,000 and 2,200 yard SOM shooting trip.
Yes, this shooting trip really memorable because it was recent, as well as the goal that I had when I built the Tikka. And so like I worked with all these companies, and it came down to this moment of like, all right, can it be done? I want to go shoot 2,000 yards. So that's been my goal for like a year and a half at this point. I want to shoot 2,000 yards with my Tikka. Go out there, show up in the afternoon or the evening. I was driving out with the sun in my eyes. I rarely ended up in the desert during the sunset. Normally, I go out there early morning, shoot, head home around noon or afternoon. So I only had one other trip with my AR-15 at the time where I've been out there during sunset, and it's completely different. It changes where all the shadows are. Like it seems like a different place. And it was a very red glowing sunset that evening. And my hillside that I shoot into faces west. So normally I'm facing east and the sun is in my face. It's really annoying. That's why I'm always wearing my big hat. So on the first night that I was there, I had showed up. I had about an hour of daylight left. I was like, you know what? Let's just hurry up, set up a target, and go try and shoot 2,000 yards tonight. If it doesn't happen, we'll try again in the morning. So I set up my target, ran back like as fast as I could. The intro was like 35 seconds. I was like, hey, what's going on, guys? I'm gonna shoot 2,000 yards of the song. Then like I laid down behind the rifle and start sending some shots. I didn't. There's a couple in there that we didn't have any calls for, where it's just like, I don't know if that was a hit or a miss. Showed up to the target, had an impact on the target. So awesome, goal accomplished, really fun. My stepdad was out there with me that evening. We camped overnight. That was my first night in my rooftop tent. In the morning, my stepdad had to split. I went back out to the long distance, and instead of stopping at 2,000 yards and just trying it again, I decided to go beyond that out to 2,200 yards. And the reason I stopped there is just the shape of the terrain. It's basically the top of a hill. I'd have to go like another 200 to 300 yards so I could see my target again. So I didn't want to quite go for 2,500 because I knew that was about the max. I could adjust the scope and hold over my reticle. So that was like the farthest shot I could do with the setup I had. And so I got set up 2,200 yards and by myself, no spotter or anything, just me and my cameras out in the desert. Got my third shot impact at 2,200 yards. And that video, which I'm really appreciative of this, that video did really well. So I released those sequentially. I showed the 2,000 first, and then I showed the 2,200 following that, and just got a lot of traffic on that. It was really great. A lot of subscribers came from that, which I appreciate. But that's currently sitting at 650,000 views. The unfortunate part comes to the whole deal with YouTube and demonetization. I don't know if people realize this. So it's not just demonetization. Like if it was just like, we're not going to pay you, I'd be like, all right, whatever. The video stops getting views, and it's not entirely like, you can still find the video and watch it. But I look at the graph of views that I got over like the last 365 days. And when it was first released, it's just this ramp going up and up and up and up and up. And then YouTube demonetizes it after it had been monetized for 3 months. And it flatlines that video. It gets a couple views a day, and it's just been dead ever since then. So like ultimately that video's dead. It's never gonna get more than like 650,000 views. So it really sucks. I hate that, but it's my most viewed video I have. It's one of the most proud accomplishments I've done, as well as a bunch of companies helped me out a lot with getting that rifle put together. So being able to have that much exposure for all those guys that helped me out, I absolutely love that. That's the video that blew up for me. But that's been my most successful video so far this year. And unless in the next like 20 days one decides to just skyrocket out of here, no, I think that's going to be my one for the year.
Viewed.
Yeah, that's my home run this year.
I remember at that point we had moved, and I remember telling everyone at my work, kind of, they've been asking questions like, who's your husband? What does he do? And I told him what he likes to do for fun. And I had said that, he just recently put out a video of shooting 2,000 yards. And I just remember all the guys that work. I mean, I work with veterans, I work with hunters, I work with all sorts of guys that are like, there's no way. He didn't shoot 2,000 yards. That's impossible. You're making lies up.
75 MOA with a 183 Sierra Match King at 29.75 feet a second. That's not impossible.
Yeah, so it was just fun to be like, no, like, it is. Like, here's these videos. It's moments like those that I like to brag about Logan and seeing what he does. And then they're like, oh, shoot, this is a real thing. Like, it is possible. And then they want to do it. And so it's inspiring. It's not only an accomplishment for you, but it is also inspires other people to try to do it for themselves.
Not only that, just stretch what you think
your limits are
is possible.
Yeah.
Like now that I've hit 2,000 yards,
what's next?
Further than that, like you just keep going. That's the beautiful part about long range shooting. You just keep going. And like I said, by myself, there's no like huge group of spotters or anything. Like it's just me, and I really like that about it. But yeah, it's kind of funny at this point because it's almost an awkward thing to tell people, because like I don't want to feel like that bullshitter guy who's like, oh, I shoot 3 miles by 308, ha ha ha. Like no, like, and I try and be as humble as I can about it. Obviously, I'm gloating a little bit here, but
you should be. It's an exciting thing, and it's fun to talk about.
In that video, you can definitely see I'm I'm really excited to hit that target. It's a little embarrassing for me to watch in front of other people, but no, I really enjoy it. But it was a fun one. That's a huge goal that I had for a long time, and I'm way stoked on accomplishing it. So that's.
You should. This next one though is another huge accomplishment that you did, and something you had never done before that you got to experience and had the chance to go and do. Your Vortex Extreme, which Vortex.
Yeah,
I just realized we're both wearing Vortex hoodies.
Yeah, yours looks better on you than me. But yeah, went and shot the Vortex Extreme. I've well documented this. Went out and shot with my shooting teammate Riley Baxter, and we were representing Team Uinta Precision, Preferred Barrels, Loophole Optics, MK Machining, and Fueled by Hornady. So I've actually got a podcast with Riley covering this, as well as video of the Vortex and a few others on it. So be sure to check that content out. I won't just keep beating a dead horse there, because that's pretty recent content.
Yeah.
So hopefully the people who are here now have seen that. If you haven't, please feel free to go check it out. I condensed a lot of it down. There's a lot of shooting footage from that. It's not the most beautiful footage ever, because I was my own film crew. So I would set up a camera and kind of try and get us framed up, and then once they said go, it was game time. I didn't really care about the camera, so did what I could, but I feel like I got a pretty good, solid video put together from it.
I think so, because like that wasn't your main focus when you're out there. Like you wanted to get content so that you could have coverage and be able to go back and see what you did, but mostly you were out there focusing on shooting the competition.
Yeah, and we were able to do better than I thought we were going to do, because Riley shot his ass off and carried me. But
oh, you did good too.
No, we went out and shot. We took 7th out of 77 teams. So I feel real. I don't know, I'm proud of what we accomplished for our first time at Vortex Extreme. And if we go back again next year, I feel like we could do even better. I definitely know where there's some spots where we could improve.
Right. It's always a challenge. It's always about bettering yourself and seeing
like
what
myself
you can
hitting
do.
more targets, that'd be an improvement.
Yes, definitely. Okay, next one is 338 Lapua AR and OSS.
Yeah, so OSS reached out to me. They wanted to have some content shooting their new can really far out, and they said that they would bring a 338 Lapua. They would supply the ammo, and I'm not going to turn that down, go shoot suppressors and play with 338s in the desert. So I went out there, met the guys with OSS, as well as Darren from Sword International, and put together a video on their package that they had together. That 338 Lapua is a thing of beauty. It is a really impressive rifle because it's so unique. Like almost no one else has done that, and so they've created a super solid, well-functioning rifle, and they're one of the first people to do it. Like that's really rare to me. It's already refined and works so good, and then in conjunction with the OSS suppressor that we were using, those don't create back pressure like normal baffled suppressors do. They function a little bit different. The sound of the shooter's ear was so nice and mellow shooting a 338 semi-auto, and like, man, it's just fun to shoot. Went out and shot a mile. I feel terrible though. I went out there and I didn't feel well during that day, and so sorry OSS. I feel bad. I wish I was a little more energetic, pumped up out to be there. It was hot. It was July at that point, or was it? That was August at that point.
Yeah.
In the desert at like 12 and noon in the desert. So I just wasn't feeling good, but I got what I could put together, and we got her done. We got some hits on the mile, so check that one out. That's one of the ones that have been demonetized, so it hasn't been shared much. That's on my channel, so please check that out if you want to see a 338 Lapua AR with a suppressor on it shooting a mile, which is like all things that are good. So
Yeah.
that was one of the more fun videos I made this year.
All right, we are almost done. You've made it this far.
Yeah, we're real close now.
Hang in with us. T1X full build plus 500 yards is, I'm guessing, what 500 is.
Yeah,
there?
so this is two different videos. I reveal my T1X full build, preferred barrels, did a custom prototype barrel for my Tikka T1x. because I started working for Preferred Barrels as well as Match Trade Machine. So working with the guys there, I had a T1X and I was willing to tear mine apart to see what it would take to create a new barrel for it. And they're saying that hopefully spring this coming year of 2020, spring of 2020, they should have an offering for the T1X. It's just interesting because it has the extractor cut in the barrel, and typically those are hard to kind of make work well. So we're a little hesitant because we don't want to come out with a product that's not going to work well. But mine functions really well. So far, it's working awesome. It's pretty. It's got a modular driven technology chassis on there with a side folder. Cool little gun. Everybody I've shown loves that thing. My mom and my aunt really want one for themselves as well. But that's one of my favorite guns in the safe right now. Is just that little T1X.
Good. And latest video.
The latest video, my Arkin EP4 showed up. I went out and did a tracking test. Did some first initial impressions on that. That thing's really impressive. 34 millimeter tube, first focal plane, 0 stop, tactical turrets that work, as well as a tracking guarantee that if there's more than 0.5% of error, they will replace your scope. So Arkin Optics coming at the market hard at an awesome price point of $550. $550 is not a cheap scope, but for that feature set, you're going to pay double that for any other brand. So I was definitely interested to get my hands on one, see if it was actually good. I'm gonna go shoot it. So far, it seems actually good, and I just need to go shoot it and use it a little bit, see what it comes up with. But so far, really impressed with that. So I'll leave a link to those guys. You can check them out just because it's the most recent thing I've done.
Yeah.
But outside of that, this has been such a blast. I appreciate everybody just joining along, enjoying the adventures. Hopefully you've learned something along the way, and hopefully you just keep subscribing, and hopefully I keep making good content that you guys enjoy. Thanks to my wife for sharing this podcast with me and hanging out with me and dealing with some of the stories that you don't know about or care about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm proud of Logan. 20,000 subscribers, that's a big accomplishment to hit. And so thank you to all his viewers, all of his friends he's made, family even, we've considered them. And so I think it's been a fun experience to watch Logan learn and grow himself, and then have that sense of community, this gun community and channel. So thank you to all of you for keeping Logan entertained.
Yeah, and honestly, this YouTube channel has led me to move across the state and get a new career. So it's been pretty wild how much just the YouTube channel's changed my life and steered it around. So it's been real awesome.
Yeah.
But appreciate you guys watching or listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. It's time for bed. Catch you guys around.
See you later. It's time for bed.